Take a breath of air. Come up when you're ready to talk. I know it's hard. Take your time. Don't stress. I know you don't wanna be here now with me at all. I know you're leaving. I know you're leaving. Where does your mind go? And why do your eyes flow? Why can't you look at me? Where does the time go? And why don't you know anything about me to throw away? Hey, I'm over here. Him right in front of you. Turn the music down. Don't listen to what you hear. It pulls you in. Take your time and breathe. All I wanna do is hear you speak of where we are. I know you're angry. I know you're angry. Where does your mind go? And why do your eyes flow? Why can't you look at me? Where does the time go? And why don't you know anything about me to throw away? Hey, I'm over here. Hey, I'm right in front of you. Oh my God, I'm gonna miss you. God, this already kills. To wake up next to nothing at all. It scares me more than I leave you tonight. Where does your mind go? Why do your eyes flow? Why can't you look at me? sweet romance under a blanket of blue. Enthralling me so, the night would be tragic if you weren't here to share it, my dear. Covered with heaven above, let's dream a dream of love.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and watching this premiere reading of Home Fires Burning by Siri James. Just a couple of very quick announcements, and then we're going to get into the show. I just wanted to encourage everybody to take a look at the virtual stage on the Little Fish Theater website. The URL is in the description below, and it has really awesome links to the content we've created thus far, and also some really exciting things that we're going to be bringing to you in the months to come. So be sure to check that out. And if you have any questions or any thoughts throughout the show, there is a live chat feed on this YouTube. Feel free to message us, send those along. And at the very end, we're going to do just a few minutes of a Q&A if you guys want, or if you have anything that you want to ask or talk about. Other than that, just please enjoy the show. And thank you again so much for being here.
Home Fires Burning by Siri James. Act 1, Scene 1. The Ross home, a comfortable upper-middle-class house in West Los Angeles. Hanging above the fireplace is a professional family portrait of Susan, Glen, and Zach, taken about a year ago. They are formally posed and look rather serious. The front door opens and Susan enters, followed by her son, Zach. He carries a school backpack and wears a baseball uniform streaked with mud.
This is important, Mom.
Wipe your feet. You're tracking in half of left field.
You're not even listening.
I've done nothing but listen for the past 30 minutes. I was a captive audience.
But you're not hearing me.
It's kind of hard to concentrate with you screeching through school zones at 45 miles an hour and slamming on the brakes at every red light with 2 inches to spare.
I need a new computer, Mom.
Your computer is fine.
It's a dinosaur. Not even a dinosaur. It's a trilobite.
What's a trilobite?
A sea-dwelling arthropod that went extinct 5 million years before the dinosaur. My computer is ancient and way too slow. It doesn't even have enough memory to play Strike Force 7.
Well, play Strike Force 6.
But I finished all the levels. Everyone is playing 7. Please, Mom?
Zach, your computer is only 3 years old. It's newer than mine.
When's Dad coming home?
He'll tell you the same thing. There's no way you're getting a new computer. Oh, no. Oh,
What's wrong?
my editor sent the proof of my new book cover.
Shows Zach her phone.
Oh, way cool. Love all the blood.
No, it looks like a horror novel, not a mystery novel. They'll have to do it over.
Susan starts dinner preparations.
What's for dinner?
Lasagna. Shut that thing off, please, and set the table.
We're down by 2 and I'm up to bat.
You just played a 3-hour game.
That was actual baseball. This is virtual baseball.
Well, this is actual reality, and I actually need you to set the table now, and then change your clothes and do your homework.
Zach reluctantly shuts off the video game. The doorbell rings.
I'll get it. Who's there?
Jack the Ripper.
Zach opens the door. Miriam enters with a box of oranges.
Hey, Grandma.
A is for horses. Say hello like a person.
Hello. Can I help you with that?
I'm not dead yet. I can still carry a box of fruit.
Hi, Mom. That is a lot of oranges.
They were on special at Save Mart, $8 a crate. Now, this one was a couple of days old, and when I pointed it out, the produce man gave it to me for half price.
Great.
Now, come here. Give me some love. Mwah. That was quite a game. I'm proud of you, even if your team did lose.
Thanks. Are you staying for dinner, Grandma?
Oh, sorry, I can't. I'm going out with Betty and Estelle. I got a coupon for the pasta garden. Senior early bird special. Free breadsticks, beverage, and dessert.
Some of these are pretty moldy.
So you cut that part off. Now, where's the juicer I gave you?
I don't know, in the cupboard, I think.
Well, if you kept it out on the counter, you'd use it. You can make fresh squeezed orange juice for breakfast.
She discovers a putrid orange.
Oh, God, Mom.
No, don't throw that out. Part of that was still good.
It's bacterial sludge. Oh, I'm not going to drink it.
Well, the rest of them are perfectly fine. Zach, put placemats out first.
We don't use placemats.
You should. What happened to the placemats I gave you for Hanukkah?
I gave them back to Goodwill.
Those were collector's items. They were worth a fortune.
They were hideous, Mom, but I appreciate the thought.
You have no appreciation for history. And if you don't put something under those glasses, you're going to ruin that table.
It's bar top varnish. It's fine.
Phew. A little heat, a little moisture, varnish can bubble up. Oh, where's Glen?
He should be on his way home now.
From Seattle?
No, from the office.
All the traveling he does, I can't keep track.
He's been home since Christmas, Mom.
20 years. I can't get used to you saying Christmas.
The front door opens and Glen enters. He takes off his jacket, stiff and preoccupied.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Zach. How was practice?
It was a game.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
We lost 4-3, but I stole 2 bases and had a single and a triple. Coach said he'll maybe make me pitch later in the season. Can we go to the park this weekend and throw a few balls around?
I'll check my calendar.
Welcome home.
Miriam, nice to see you.
Text me when dinner's ready. Bye, Grandma.
Bye, sweetheart. Oh, sorry. I have to run or I'll miss the early bird. Oh, I almost forgot.
Takes an envelope from her purse and hands it to Glen.
Don't open this until tomorrow.
What's this for?
Your anniversary. I know you always like to go out. This should pay for a nice dinner.
Thanks.
That's so sweet.
There's some coupons in there too for a couple of 2 furs, a free Frosty at Wendy's, 25% off Red Lobster if you go on a weeknight before 6. Have a good time.
Thanks, Mom. Say hi to Betty and Estelle for me.
I will. Bye.
Bye.
Miriam exits. Susan continues making dinner. Glen is distracted and increasingly uncomfortable.
How was your day?
Okay.
I got the first proof of my new book cover. Oh my God, it's all wrong. It looks like the Night of the Living Dead. So, what do you think? Free Frosty at Wendy's, or should we go crazy and try the Red Lobster?
The Red Lobster.
For our anniversary. Where do you want to go?
I don't care.
I was thinking that little French place in Westwood where we met the Larsons last year. What was it called? La Bruschetta? Their appetizers, were delicious.
Whatever you want.
Well, what time should I make the reservations for? 6:30 or 7?
Fine.
Which one?
What?
I said 6:30 or 7 and you said fine.
It doesn't matter. Just pick a time.
Okay, I'll make it for 7. Well, before I forget, your sister called. She invited us for dinner on Saturday. She's going to make those marinated lamb chops you like so much. So put it in your calendar.
No.
No.
I'm not putting dinner at Helen's on my calendar, and I'm not going to sit through an anniversary dinner and pretend.
Pretend what? Are you all right?
I put this off long enough. There's no easy way to say this, Susan. I'm in love with someone else, and I'm leaving.
What?
I'm leaving. I want a divorce.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I've been waiting for the right time to tell you, but it's never the right time.
This isn't happening.
I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. I'm sorry.
Who is it? And don't tell me it's Claire.
It's Claire.
You said you were just friends.
It started out that way. But all those months on assignment in Seattle, we shared an office. We had lunch every day and dinner every night. First, it was a lot of talking, getting to know each other better. And then...
You son of a bitch.
I never meant to hurt you.
Well, thanks for that.
I know you've been confused.
I kept asking you what was wrong for months. Even when you were here, you weren't really here. And in bed, you said, don't worry about it. You said, I thought...
It's not your fault, Susan. It's nothing you did. It's me. Me. It's like a piece of myself has been missing, and I've finally found it. With her, I'm like a different person.
What was wrong with the person you were before?
I've been unhappy for a long time.
If you were so unhappy, why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know how.
Has this happened before? Have there been other women?
No, never.
And one business trip changed all that?
It wasn't just a business trip. I was gone 6 months.
You flew home every weekend. I was here with Zach, missing you. How could you?
Do you hate me?
Yes. No, I don't know. Until a few minutes ago, you were the love of my life. I can't go from love to hate that fast. But give me time.
I'm sorry.
Are you? Wait, I thought you said Claire got married just before you transferred up there.
Ooh, she did, but she was a reluctant bride.
A reluctant bride?
She and Alex had been going together off and on for 5 years. He kept pressuring her to get married, so she gave in. But it wasn't what she really wanted. She doesn't love him.
Well, she sounds like a real prize.
She's a very special woman. I don't expect you to understand.
When did it start?
What?
How long after you went up to Seattle did you...
Oh, does it matter?
Yes, it matters.
I don't know. A couple of months. We both tried to cut it off since we came back home, but we couldn't.
This is a nightmare. Have you thought about how this is going to affect Zach? He needs a father.
I'll still be his father.
It's not the same if you're not here. After 20 years, how can you throw away everything we have to live with someone you just met?
We didn't just meet. She's worked for me for 10 years. It was always strictly professional, but there was always something between us, even though it was never spoken aloud. When we were transferred to Seattle, what can I say? We fell in love.
And you don't love me anymore?
I do love you, but not in the same way that I love her. When Claire and I see each other across the room, we know what the other is thinking. We feel like it's destiny, like this was meant to be. We want to grow old together.
Do you hear yourself? Don't you see, Glenn, this was like a movie set romance. You were away from home in a different world without any responsibilities. It wasn't real.
It's the most real thing that's ever happened to me.
What about us? Everything we've shared, are you telling me that wasn't real?
It was. But Susan, we were so young when we got married. We're not the same people now. We want different things.
No, we've always wanted the same things. To raise our son to be a good, happy, and productive person, to send him to college, to work hard, retire comfortably, and maybe if we're lucky, maybe enjoy a couple of grandchildren. We're halfway there, Glenn. Doesn't any of that matter to you?
It does. I've thought about all that. That's what made this so hard. But in the end, I had to choose.
This is a mistake you're going to regret for the rest of your life.
I don't believe in regrets. I've made my decision and I'm moving forward.
You can't just walk out. After 20 years, you owe it to me and our son to try and fix this, to get counseling.
Counseling? What good would that do?
A professional could help us understand what happened, to make sense of this.
I don't need some stranger to tell me how to live my life. I know what I want.
You just think you do. Glenn, please. I love you. I need you. Zach needs you. I can't imagine my life without you. Don't do this.
It's already done.
What's already done?
I rented an apartment. I signed a 6-month lease. I'm moving out tomorrow.
Is she moving in with you?
Yes.
Isn't that against company rules?
Claire doesn't work for me anymore.
Since when?
Since last week. There was an opening in another department, and I had her transferred.
That was convenient. How does her husband feel about all this?
She hasn't told him yet.
Are you serious?
She was waiting on me to make up my mind. She knew this was a hard decision for me with Zach and everything, and she said she didn't want to pressure me.
Oh, how thoughtful.
Susan, she's a good person. She's a lot like you. She feels as badly about this as I do.
I'll bet.
If you had gotten to know her, you would have liked her. You could have been friends.
I think I'm going to throw up.
I was hoping we could still be friends.
You're dreaming, Glenn. If you walk out that door, I don't want to be your friend. You are kissing goodbye our future, everything we've worked for our entire lives.
It doesn't have to be that way. I've worked out a plan.
A plan?
A settlement agreement. Here, I'll email it to you.
You already split up our assets?
It's just a preliminary draft, but I think I've been more than fair.
You are unbelievable.
Zach appears in a doorway, listening.
You can keep the house, and I'll keep my IRA and the other investment accounts. With your writing and child support, you'll have enough to live on. You'll be fine.
Thanks for doing the math.
And if you need me, I'll be just a few miles away, and Zach can live with me half the time.
What? No, you're not taking him away from me.
Let's leave that decision up to Zach. Other people share custody. Why can't we?
There is no way. You're not going to force him to live every other week with some two-timing bitch who doesn't know the first thing about raising children.
I just want to be his father.
Then stay and be a father.
I can't. And why should I bother? All I've ever been to you and Zach is a paycheck.
Oh, that's not true.
The hell it isn't.
You bastard.
Zach, wait.
Fucking coward.
Zach,
Will you let me explain?
I've heard all I need to hear. What I want to know is, why are you still here? Why don't you just get the fuck out?
I have to go pack.
Glen exits. Zach stalks out the front door and slams it. Lights begin to fade, and Susan sits down at the table and starts to cry. Scene 2, 2 days later.
I read once that a family of 9 was driving in a Suburban on the freeway when it was rammed by a 16-wheeler, flipped over and smashed into the retaining wall. Every single person in that car walked away without a scratch. I decided then and there I had to have a Suburban. I know it's a whale and it guzzles gas and there's usually only the 3 of us, but I figured in a car like that, no matter what happened, we'd be safe. Nothing could ever hurt my family. Nothing.
Susan crosses to the kitchen and sits down at the table next to Miriam, who's reading a travel catalog over breakfast.
You haven't touched your bagel. Here, put a little lox on it. You need protein. Should I toast a bagel for Zach? Well, I'll wait till he gets up. Nothing worse than a cold bagel. Oh, hey, how about Chinese cooking?
Do you realize how many kinds of apples there are?
There's an elder hostel week in San Francisco. I can get us 2 for 1 on the airfare. Daily lessons in Chinese cooking with one of Chinatown's master chefs. Oh, it includes a tour of a fortune cookie factory and seminars on the works of A.B. Dan and Lisa C.
I was at the store yesterday buying apples. I grabbed a bag and opened it and I just stood there.
I know. What about a spa?
But there are so many kinds. Fuji's and Red Delicious and Golden Delicious and Rome and Gallai and Macintosh, all these people around me buying produce like nothing's happened. And I'm thinking, can they tell by looking at me that my life just imploded? Finally, I saw a man filling a bag with pippins, so I just followed suit.
Here's one. 4 days at a health spa in Carlsbad. It includes seaweed wraps, hot mud baths, Tai Chi, yoga, gourmet vegan cuisine, and a lecture on the history of foot massage.
The thing is, I don't really like pippins. They're too tart.
Do you want to go to a spa or not?
Mom, as much as it appeals to me to eat rice cakes and sit naked in a hot tub with you and the rest of the AARP, I can't go on a trip right now.
It'll be good for you to get away.
No, I can't leave Zach. And I'm getting divorced.
Did Glen file for divorce?
No,
Did you file for divorce?
no,
Then you're not getting divorced. You're just separated.
we're getting divorced. Glen took his clothes and his computer and half of the DVD collection and he moved in with his girlfriend. It's over.
Did he take the furniture?
He said he'd buy new stuff.
When he comes for the furniture, then it's over.
How would you know? You and Dad were married 37 years. He adored you. You were never left.
Yeah, maybe not. But Reva Tannenbaum, her husband Saul left her the day after Yom Kippur 5 years ago.
Reva Tannenbaum? You're kidding. Was Saul having an affair?
No, he said he was just tired of being married. He wanted to try the single life. A week later, he was back with his tail between his legs. He missed her pot roast.
Did she take him back?
Of course she took him back. After 43 years of marriage, a 1-week lapse you can forgive.
Well, this is hardly a 1-week lapse. And Saul didn't leave Riva for another woman, a woman he was deeply in love with.
A woman who also happens to be married. Now, what's it been? A week? It's early yet. Things could change.
They won't change. I know Glen. Once he's made up his mind to do something, that's it. He moves forward, no regrets.
Oh, honey. Honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I feel so stupid. I mean, why didn't I see it? I knew something was wrong and I kept making up excuses for it. Oh, it's the stress from all his traveling, I told myself. He's just busy with work. He's tired. God, the whole time he was lying to my face and I believed him.
Well, why shouldn't you believe him? Had he ever lied to you before?
I don't think so.
So, you stood by your husband and you trusted him. There's nothing wrong with that.
How could he do it? How could he sleep with her all week and then fly home to me every weekend? He was an altar boy, for God's sake. He didn't even cheat on his taxes.
I warned you not to marry a Catholic. They don't have guilt. They have confession.
What am I going to do?
You're going to get up every morning and live your life and take care of your son like you did before.
How? Glen was my best friend, my other half. Who am I without him?
You're a beautiful, smart, headstrong woman, just like you were before you met him.
It's been so long, I don't even remember who that person was anymore.
Well, you'll find her again. And stop scratching.
But I itch.
It's the stress.
It's not the stress. I had an itch.
Now, remember when your father got so sick and I got that rash on my neck and I kept saying it was an allergy and you said, no, it's stress.
God, now I'm a single mother with a stress rash.
You'll get through this. I promise.
How? God, I feel lost without him, Mom. I didn't realize until now how spoiled I've been. I mean, he handled so many things that I don't know how to do. Our finances, taxes, all the home maintenance.
So you'll learn how to do those things. It's not rocket science. Hire someone if you need to. But you can learn how to fix anything on YouTube.
You use YouTube?
Oh, I swear by it. Just the other day, I learned how to replace all of the window batteries in my alarm system. I saved myself a fortune. Take one day at a time, honey. That's what I did after your father died. I was in that big house, all alone, living on a widow's pension. How do you think I felt?
I don't know. I didn't really, I guess I was so caught up in my own pain that I didn't, it must have been awful for you.
No, it wasn't easy, but I told myself, I'm going to live 3 lives.
3 lives?
Mm-hmm. My first life I lived as a girl with my parents, learning to get along in the world. My second life, I was a wife and a mother. And my third life, I'm a widow and single. And you know what? It's not so bad. Once you get used to the quiet, the single life has its advantages. You don't have to answer to anyone or clean up after anyone. You can stay up until 2 a.m. and sleep in until noon if you want. You can eat ice cream 3 times a day and there's nobody to criticize.
You eat ice cream 3 times a day?
Oh, I'm not admitting to anything.
I never thought Glen could do something like this. Glen, of all people.
I told you not to get married so young. Take a year after college to work and live on your own, I said. Learn what it's like to pay rent and take care of yourself. But you wouldn't listen.
What? You think if we'd gotten married later, this wouldn't have happened?
I don't know. But you both still had so much growing up to do. You were taking a risk.
It didn't feel like a risk. It felt right.
I'll never forget the night you brought him home to dinner. I said I'd never forgive you if you married out of the faith, and you showed up with a blue-eyed goy. Ugh, I thought I'd die. And when you announced your engagement, your father said, "This is Susan's choice. It's her life. If this is what she wants, let's not stand in her way." So I kept my mouth shut because I could see he was good for you. You were good for each other.
Were we?
Yes. You grew up together. Let me tell you, I've seen a lot of couples, but in those early years, I never saw anyone more in love than the two of you. Are you gonna be all right? All right. I have a Benai Brith luncheon in half an hour. I'll call you later.
Thanks, Mom.
Miriam exits. Susan sits at the table deep in thought. The lights shift in color and intensity, bathing her in a bright glow. There is a musical sound like the rushing of wind.
Hey, gorgeous. I'm home.
It's 16 years ago. Susan swivels in her chair and faces a roll-top desk, which has been closed until now. She opens it, revealing an older model computer. She starts typing.
Hey, honey.
Glen enters with a bouquet of flowers.
How's it going?
Let me finish this paragraph.
Oh, don't mind me. I just saw a little spot here that needed attention. And another spot right here. A cold, hard rain was falling. Austen could feel the chill in her bones, like a...
Don't.
Why? You know I love everything you write.
It sounds stupid when you read it out loud like that.
It sounds great. I have a good feeling about this book. You're going to sell it. I just know it.
From your lips to God's ears.
Presents her with the flowers.
From me to you.
Oh, what's the occasion?
You. You're the occasion.
Thank you. They're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
They kiss, a lovely, affectionate kiss.
I missed you today.
I missed you too.
He puts his hand on her abdomen.
How do you feel?
Fine. A little queasy this morning, but it passed. How was work?
The usual. What chapter are you on?
5.
Did they find the murder weapon yet?
No, she just met the tall, dark, handsome stranger.
With whom she's going to have mad, passionate sex?
Not till chapter 8.
Oh, cruel wench. To make them wait so long?
He kisses her again. She responds, drops the bouquet on the table. The kiss grows increasingly passionate.
Stop, stop. You're crushing my flowers.
Is that anything like deflowering?
A little late for that. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. I felt the baby move today for the first time.
You felt it move?
I was sitting at the computer right after lunch and I felt it, a little flutter, like butterfly wings, right here.
A little flutter. What are we going to call this little flutter?
Well, I've been looking through the baby name book. What do you think about Jake if it's a boy?
Why, Jake?
I don't know. I just like the sound of it.
I used to mow my neighbor's lawn when I was 9. They had a German Shepherd named Jake who always barked and snapped at me.
I guess Jake is out.
Not if you really like it.
I'm not naming our son after a dog who tried to maul you when you were 9.
Could be a girl.
In every dream I have, it's a boy. Except for the time I dreamt I gave birth to a pig.
You dreamt you gave birth to a pig?
The 9th months of pregnancy book says it's a birth anxiety dream. It's totally normal.
What kind of pig?
Oh, a little pink piglet with a shriveled face and a curly tail. Everyone said there was a strong family resemblance on the father's side.
So you've been seeing that UPS guy again? I still can't believe it.
I know. We're going to be parents.
I can't wait.
Neither can I.
Mom? Mom?
There's that same musical riff again, like the rushing of wind. Glen moves out of Susan's arms, leaving Susan alone as lights come up, bringing Susan back to the present. Zach enters.
Mom, I need new shoes.
What?
I need new shoes.
I just bought you new shoes.
Well, I've had these for like a year. There's a huge crack in the bottom. I stepped in a puddle yesterday and got my sock wet.
I will go to the store tomorrow.
Her cell phone rings.
Hello? Hi. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's better if I just forward it. Yes, I have your address. Just a minute. It's your dad. He wants to know if he can have lunch with you on Saturday and play catch at the park.
Fuck him.
Zach, your dad's just trying.
I know what he's trying to do. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. Well, he can kiss my ass.
Zach exits.
Glen? Glen?
Glen has hung up. Susan ends the call and stands frozen for a moment. She walks into the living room, absently starts straightening up. Her attention is drawn to the formal family portrait above the fireplace. She stares at it a moment, then takes it down. There's a gray shadow left on the wall in its absence. Scene 3, the next day. Susan is working at her laptop. The doorbell rings. Susan answers the door. Jackie enters, wearing an outfit that is avant-garde and expensive.
Sweetie, hi.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for coming.
I'm sorry I've been out of touch for so long. Life just got in the way. Glen is such an idiot. He doesn't know what he's giving up, but you'll make it through this, just like I did, I promise.
How did you get off work?
I told my boss one of my best friends is in a crisis. Her husband left her on their 20th anniversary, and she said, go. But that traffic, 50 miles, and it felt like 500. I'm dying to pee.
Jackie heads into the bathroom and shuts the door.
I made a pot of coffee.
Is it decaf?
No.
Thank God.
We hear the toilet flush. Jackie re-enters, notices the vacant spot above the mantel.
I see he's off the wall.
I couldn't look at it anymore.
I don't blame you. When Trevor left, I took down all the pictures with him in them and shoved them in the garden shed behind the fertilizer. I had to have the whole inside of the house repainted. I couldn't stand looking at all those shadows. I found the pictures in the shed a year later, covered with bugs and cobwebs.
What did you do with them?
I had a ceremonial burning. Frames and all, torched them all to kingdom come. So, how you holding up?
Okay.
Have you been eating?
Sometimes.
Sleeping?
Not really.
Then you're not okay. How's Zach?
He said he never wants to see his dad again, but he's ashamed of his heritage.
He said that. He's ashamed of his heritage. Therapy might help. It did wonders for Josh.
I'll think about it.
Is Zach staying with you?
Yeah. And Glen said he'd never force Zach to do anything he doesn't want to do.
I'm glad. When Trevor left, Nikki was only 2. It was hard letting Josh go, but I understood. His dad had a new girlfriend and a new house. Felt like a family. It made him feel safe. But Nikki, she was so young, shuttling back and forth like that between 2 warring households. That first year, she had nightmares every night. Sometimes I wonder how she survived it.
She seems fine now.
Now, sure. Since I married Paul and moved in with him and his kids, everything's different.
Paul is great.
Paul is amazing. It's like God decided I'd suffered long enough, so he sent down this man to me and said, Jackie, here is your reward. We are partners in every sense of the word.
I'm so happy for you, Jackie. How is Paul? How are the kids?
Oh, good. Well, I have to admit, it hasn't been easy creating a blended family, but Paul's great with the boys and he treats Nikki like a princess. Oh, last week, he bought her a canopy bed. All her life, she's wanted a canopy bed, and suddenly the doorbell rings and one's being delivered.
Oh, yeah, Glen did things like that.
I loved Glen. But in the end, I think he's probably just like Trevor, repressed and anal retentive.
Anal retentive?
You know, where everything has to be just so. Trevor used to yell at me if the drapes weren't shut the minute the sun went down. The neighbors could see in, he said. I don't know what he was afraid they'd see. If his favorite wine glass was in the dishwasher when he wanted it, or if the trash can by his desk was 2 inches to the left off where it was supposed to be, he'd go ballistic.
Glen has this thing about shirt collars.
What do you mean?
The collars on his polo shirts have to be ironed perfectly flat or he won't wear them.
See? Anal retentive.
I didn't really care. I just sent them to the cleaners. I had the weirdest dream last night.
Tell me.
I dreamt that I met a drummer in a rock band. He was 26 years old and his name was Zeus.
Was he hot?
Totally. We were kissing and I was so turned on. I was about to fall into bed with him when I suddenly remembered that I was still married. So I said, no, I can't do this.
Susan, it was a dream. The whole point of dreams is that you can have amazing guilt-free sex with anyone you want.
Is that the point of dreams? I always wondered. You know, Glen and I had amazing sex for a long time. It was only in the last couple of years that...
What?
I don't know. It was like he withdrew from me, from everything. Nothing seemed to excite him anymore. At the same time, he kept complaining that all he did was work.
How old is he?
43.
Typical midlife crisis. A man wakes up one morning and realizes that half of his life is over. He hasn't achieved what he'd hoped for, and he's not getting any younger. He thinks the solution is a new piece of ass.
Glen's girlfriend is moving in with him this weekend. Apparently, she's been waiting for the right moment to tell her husband.
Nice. Didn't you say she was a newlywed when she and Glen got involved?
She'd been married 2 months.
Slut.
Which?
And he's no better. He did you a favor, Susan.
Excuse me?
He finally showed his true colors. Now you're free to pursue new interests and new life.
I don't want a new life. I liked the life we had. Most of our friends are married. My whole social life is going to go down the tubes.
You'll adapt. You'll make new friends. You'll start dating again.
I'm not interested in dating.
You say that now, but you never know. Keep an open mind. You might meet someone terrific.
Yeah. Someone saddled with child support payments and a harpy ex-wife from hell. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I did not mean...
Paul's ex is actually halfway decent. Okay, so she's Satan's spawn. But the point is, Paul and I love each other. We're committed to making this work.
I know. I'm glad.
Have you called a lawyer?
Not yet. Everything happened so fast. One day, Glen was up on the roof cleaning the gutters, and the next thing I know, he's moving out.
He cleaned the gutters before he moved out?
He did.
The month before Trevor left, he stopped doing yard work, charged up our credit cards to the limit, and emptied all of our bank accounts.
Bastard.
Tell me about it.
Glen always took care of our finances. And when it came to home maintenance, like electrical, plumbing, carpentry, you name it, He knew how to fix everything, and he was good at it. I should have gotten more involved with all that. I'm starting at square one, and there's so much to learn.
You don't have to do it all by yourself, Susan. Just because he did, hire somebody.
I will, if I have to. At least I don't have to worry about the gutters for a while. I guess at the end, Glen did all that because he wanted to leave us in the best possible shape.
That's his guilt talking. Take advantage of it while it lasts. They're the most generous in the beginning. Pretty soon he's going to start thinking about his new life and he's going to get greedy and nasty.
You think so?
I know so. Get a lawyer now, a good one. But whatever you do, don't be the one to file for divorce. Let him do it.
Why?
The court sees the person who files as the homewrecker. Trevor kept refusing to file, even though he left me and was living with another woman. So finally, I did it. And at the custody and child support hearings, he used that against me.
Asshole.
Divorce is hell. It starts with a local skirmish and escalates into World War III. I am so angry with Glen for what he did to you. But you don't seem angry. Why is that?
I don't know. I guess I'm just too sad. I feel like I'm in mourning.
You are in mourning. It's exactly like a death. The death of a marriage. Maybe I just don't have the patience for their crap anymore. All the cheating and the lying, I've been through it so many times.
What do you mean so many times? You have a bad relationship before Trevor?
No,
I thought Trevor just cheated on you once before you broke up. Didn't he?
Susan, I never told you this or anyone else for that matter. While I was married, I was too embarrassed. And when Trevor split, I didn't want it to sound like the bitter backstabbing ex-wife, but I think Trevor had girlfriends on the side the whole time we were married.
What?
You want to know how I found out? We'd been married 10 years and I was so happy, so in love. I thought I was the luckiest woman in the world to be married to someone so handsome, so smart, so charming. And one day, this total stranger called me out of the blue and asked if I'd meet her for coffee. She said she had something to tell me about my husband.
Oh no.
She said she and Trevor had been having an affair for years. He just told her he didn't want to see her anymore. He met somebody else. He was cheating on the woman he was cheating with. And it wasn't even the first time. She wanted me to know the kind of man I was married to.
Jesus.
I confronted him and he denied it at first. And then he was so sorry. He said he was so sorry. And started spitting out all of the usual cliches that none of the other women meant anything to him and it would never happen again. He said he loved me and begged me not to leave him. So I stayed for another 4 years and another baby. I gave him my heart and my trust. Then one day he said, I tried, Jackie. I really tried, but it isn't working. And I don't want to lie to you anymore.
I am so sorry.
Well, at least he had the guts to be honest about it in the end.
God, I knew he hurt you. I had no idea how much.
We want so desperately for our marriages and families to be perfect that sometimes we blind ourselves to the truth. We're brought up on this fairy tale that our prince will come and we'll live happily ever after in a big house with 2 kids and a dog. Some women actually get that. But sometimes the prince turns out to be a cheater, an abuser, an alcoholic, or a guy who can't hold down a job and turns his inner rage out onto his wife, looking for any opportunity to make her feel small. What I finally learned, what we all have to learn, is that we can't let any man's opinion of us influence how we feel about ourselves.
I hear you. I agree, but it still hurts.
I know.
I hate him, but I still love him and I miss him. That is the man he was. or I thought he was.
I know. Even now, with everything I have, with everything that Trevor did, and knowing what he is, there are times that I still miss him. Susan, if things change, if you should decide to get back together with Glen, I want you to know I won't judge you or think less of you. It's your marriage. Nobody can tell you what's right for you. Whatever happens, I'm here for you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Jackie holds out her hand. Susan takes it. Lights fade. Scene 4, a cafe. Glen and Susan are having coffee.
You, sure you don't want something to eat?
Positive.
How's Zach?
He starts therapy next week.
He actually agreed to go?
He doesn't want to, but I told him if he ever wants his driver's license, this is part of the deal.
Smart. How's your writing going?
Glen, if this is why you asked me here to sit and chit-chat like old friends, frankly, I have better things to do.
That's not why. I didn't. Susan, I asked you because I wanted to talk to you.
Well, I don't want to talk to you.
Claire went back to her husband.
What?
Claire isn't going to leave Alex after all. She went back to him.
She dumped you? I know I shouldn't laugh, but it's just so. When did this happen?
Yesterday. She moved in Friday night. The next day we went shopping. We bought things for the apartment. She seemed fine. Then, yesterday morning, she woke up and said, I can't do this. And she packed up her car and left.
Back to her husband.
Yes.
And he was okay with that?
I don't think all this had sunk in yet. She just told him. Alex loves her. She said he was relieved.
Lucky for her.
I gave up everything for her. Everything. And she knew it.
What do you want me to say? I'm sorry?
No, I just wanted to. I know what you're thinking. It serves you right. You got what you deserved. You had it coming. Go ahead. Lay it on me.
Okay. It serves you right. You got what you deserved. You had it coming.
Now I can see the kind of pain you must be feeling.
Pain? You don't know anything about my pain. And don't you dare compare what she did to you to what you did to me. You knew what you were getting into. She just changed her mind. I got hit in one blow with the mind-numbing shock that you'd been lying to me and cheating on me for months on end. And oh, by the way, 20 years of marriage and family life as you know it are officially over. Here's the paperwork. Would you please sign?
I didn't ask you to sign anything yet.
But that's what it felt like.
I didn't tell you this. But the night I moved out, when I drove off, I thought about you and Zach and what I was leaving behind, and I couldn't stop crying. And last night, sitting there in that empty apartment, it was like I was in that nightmare scene from It's a Wonderful Life. And everyone I loved, everything that mattered to me, was gone.
Do you expect me to feel bad for you?
No, I just wanted to tell you. For months, I think I've been caught up in some kind of dream world, and I couldn't see straight. But I'm seeing straight now, and what I see is that I belong with you and Zach. I need you. I love you. I know I've hurt you, and I want to make it up to you. I want to come home.
No.
Susan?
You can't come home, Glen.
Why not?
Because you want to come home for all the wrong reasons. You say you love me and you need me. They're just words. I don't buy it. 2 days ago, you were planning an exciting new life with your lover and you didn't need me then. Suddenly she dumps you and you're scared and alone, and now you want to come crawling home to lick your wounds.
It's not like that.
Oh, yes, it is. What if she changes her mind again? What if tomorrow or 6 weeks from now or 6 months from now, she decides that giving you up was the biggest mistake she ever made in her life and she wants you back?
That's not going to happen. She was very clear that her feelings have changed, that it's over between us.
Wrong answer. Wrong. You think I give a crap what she feels? What do you feel? Is it over for you? Would you rather be with her if you could? I deserve better than this, Glen. I deserve a man who loves me for me, totally, completely, with all his heart, who's as committed to me as I am to him. We had that once, but you're not that man anymore.
I'm still your husband. You're still my wife. You said before, we owe it to ourselves to try to work this out.
Let's see if you still feel that way a few months down the road, because I need time on my own to figure out what I want. And you need therapy. Pay a stranger to listen to your problems, because I am not listening anymore. I'm not going to be your consolation prize.
Susan walks out.
I know what you're thinking. I'm the bad guy in this story. You probably hate my guts, and I get it. I don't blame you. I'd hate me if I were you. I mean, look at me. I had a great life, a great wife and kid, and I fucked it all up. Which is weird, because I've always considered myself to be a decent, stand-up kind of guy with a pretty high sense of morality. I mean, I worked hard. I made that long commute every day. I made sure the bills were paid. I took care of the house. The most important thing in my life was my family. Every decision I made, they always came first. I loved my wife and son. I'd see other guys cheating on their women, and I'd think, you idiots. What is wrong with you? I would never do that to Susan, never. Now I'm lying in the rubble and wondering, what the hell happened? Why did I do what I did? To tell you the truth, I have no fucking idea. I so do not need therapy. Shrinks are for wimps, okay? I just want to talk it out, with my best friend. My best friend is Susan. Fuck.
Blackout. End of Act 1. We will now take a 5-minute intermission.
If it ain't love, why should I feel just like I do? If it ain't love, why am I here longing for you? tell me anybody, if it ain't love, why am I here longing for you? What can it be that's making me dream of you night and day? Keep me blue all the day through, whenever you're away. If it ain't love, then it surely must be some magic art. If it ain't love, then it must be something. If it ain't love, how did this song creep into my heart? Oh, why do I sigh to the moon high above? Please answer me, what can it be? If it ain't love, if it ain't love. I'd give anything to let you in. Feel the pressure underneath my skin. You keep saying that I'm not awake. I could leap and still I'd be too late. The stars never seem to align. I'm staring at the wrong side. They say you can't save anybody else, so here I go trying to save myself. I'm not seeing clearly now. I never wanted to be a monster, lost and tempted to run out. I never wanted to be a monster. Please don't keep me, please don't hide me, please don't keep me. Please don't keep me, please don't hide me, please don't keep me under your bed, under your bed, under your bed. I'm not seeing clearly.
Act 2, Scene 1. 5 months later. A framed print hangs above the fireplace where the family portrait used to be. Susan is practicing taekwondo forms in the living room. She's new at this and not particularly good. As Susan executes a kick and lets out a primal yell, she pulls something in her back and yelps in pain.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
The doorbell rings. Susan hobbles to the door. The doorbell rings again before she answers it. It's Miriam holding a box of tomatoes.
Wish me happy birthday.
Why? It's not your birthday.
I grew a year older waiting for you to answer the door. Why are you walking like a duck?
I think I threw my back out.
What were you doing?
Taekwondo.
Ah, what are you doing that shit for?
It's an artistic discipline, a self-defense tool. It's good exercise and it keeps me in shape.
I can see what kind of shape you're in.
Oh, that's better. Oh, let me guess. Save Mart?
Ha! Farmer's Market. $5, the whole box.
Mom, these tomatoes are older than I am. Half of them have fuzz on them.
So you'll cut around it. You can make a wonderful spaghetti sauce.
No one makes spaghetti sauce from actual tomatoes. You open a jar.
Oh, you're on a budget now. It's time you learn to make sauce from scratch. Now, it's cheaper, it's better for you, and it tastes better too. You just peel, seed, and dice the tomatoes. You saute them in a little olive oil, some basil, onion, and garlic. Now, where's that food processor I gave you?
Did you say peel the tomatoes?
Yeah, drop them one by one into scalding water. It just takes a minute.
I'm not going to defuzz and peel an entire crate of moldy tomatoes just to save a few dollars.
Well, it's those few dollars here and there that add up later. Now, why do you think I got where I am today? Because I scrimped and I saved and I know how to stretch a dollar. Now, what do you have to drink around here? I'm parched.
I made some iced tea.
No, I'll get it. I don't want to interrupt your autistic discipline.
It's okay. I'm finished for the day.
So, how are you?
Fine.
Are you sleeping?
Why does everybody ask me that?
Because you look tired. So what happened yesterday? Did you meet with the attorney?
He's writing up the settlement agreement.
And Glen's working on it with you.
Yeah. He said he wants to make sure Zach and I are taken care of.
Well, good for him. Just remember, it's not a divorce until you file for divorce.
Mom, that chapter of my life is over. Glen made his choice, and if she hadn't dumped him, he'd be with her now.
You don't know that. And he's not with her. He hasn't been for what, 5 months?
As far as I know.
The trust is the hardest thing to get back. I know. Just give it time.
What do you mean, I know?
What?
You said the trust is the hardest thing to get back. I know, like you've been through it.
You know, I said I know because I understand. I sympathize. What's that on your ear?
What, this? It's a stud.
It's 2 studs. When did you get another piercing?
Last month. It was 3 weeks before Zach even noticed. I always wanted another earring hole, but Glen said that was just for biker chicks and rock star groupies. Now I don't have to worry about what Glen thinks, so I just did it. Starting to realize when I married Glen, I merged my interests, my needs, my entire style with his. And now that I'm on my own, I'm trying to remember who I was before Glen. That was so long ago, it's like I'm starting all over.
It never hurts to do a little self-evaluation now and again. It's like giving a car a tune-up, as long as you don't go overboard.
I made a list. The things I want to do before I die. Did you ever do that?
No, I don't believe in bucket lists. If I can make it through the night without having to get up to go to the bathroom more than 5 times, that's a big enough achievement for me. So what are you up to these days?
I'm working on a new novel. I sent my editor the outline and she loves it.
Good for you.
Yeah. I've got Taekwondo 2 nights a week. I joined a gourmet club and a book club. I'm thinking about golf lessons. Zach drives himself to summer school, which frees me up a lot unless I need the car. He's helping with laundry and dishes. I'm doing all the home maintenance and finances now. Plus, there's refreshments at Zach's recitals and an awards party to plan for his baseball team.
It's a wonder you have time to breathe.
I like to keep busy.
Now, there's a difference between healthy busy and just keeping busy. How is Zach? Are you both still going to therapy?
Yeah, he hates it, but he's going. For me, it's just been a waste of time.
Why?
The minute I set foot in the therapist's office, all I do is cry.
Oy.
I sit there sobbing into her box of Kleenex. I can't get a word out. I don't know why, because the rest of the time, I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
What is that? That uh-huh?
Nothing. I'm just listening. What do you hear from Glen?
He calls, he texts and emails.
Is therapy helping him?
I don't know. He says he's seeing someone once a week. We don't talk about it.
Why not? That's what you should be doing now, talking about it.
Mom, I'm in no mood to talk after what he did.
What did he do, huh? He made a mistake, Susan. A terrible, terrible mistake. What he did was wrong. It was hurtful, and it was destructive to your marriage and your family. He admits it. He's sorry. In a perfect world, if Glen was unhappy and he felt an attraction to another woman, he would have come to you and he would have said, something doesn't feel right. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Let's take a look at what's going on with us and try to fix it. But it's not a perfect world. Glen is not a perfect human being, and neither are you.
I never said I was perfect, but I didn't do anything wrong here.
Well, maybe not intentionally, sweetheart. Do you know what my mother always said? She said, relationships are like fires. If left unattended, they tend to go out.
What does that mean? That this was my fault that I didn't pay enough attention to my husband?
No, I didn't say that. But it works both ways. It takes two to make a marriage and two to unmake it. Oh, things don't happen in a vacuum, darling. Every cause has an effect. You two were very happy and very much in love for a long time. Something changed that. And now it's time for both of you to figure out why.
Miriam gets her purse, kisses Susan goodbye, and exits. Lights begin to fade. There's that musical sound again, like the rushing of wind. The lights shift. We begin to hear the sounds of a kid's summer baseball game. Lights come up stage right on bleachers in a city park. It's 6 years ago. Glen sits in the bleachers, enthusiastically watching the game.
Catch it! Catch it! Catch it! Damn.
Susan rushes to the bleachers and sits down next to Glen, out of breath.
Sorry, I'm late. God, I was so deep in my writing that 3 hours went by in a flash. When I looked up, I realized the game had already started. Hi.
Hi.
What inning is it?
Top of the fifth, one out. The Red Sox are ahead, 6-3.
Oh, damn, where's Zach?
Warming up, over there.
Look at that arm.
10 years old and he pitches like a major leaguer. They should have put him in ages ago. They should have started him.
You know they always save Zach for a tight spot.
They're not saving him, and there's no they. There's only the coach who thinks his son is a star pitcher and won't give anyone else a chance. Oh, no. Watch this guy. He's coming in. Throw it home. Throw the damn ball. Shit. What's happening tonight? Want to go to a movie?
Oh, I wish. I have to take Zach to his piano lesson. Would you look at this batter?
Where'd they get this guy?
No way he is 10 years old.
He's built like an NFL linebacker.
Either he lied about his age or he takes steroids.
Marlins look like munchkins in comparison. Get back! Get back!
Yeah, I can't watch.
We still have a chance.
If we ever get up to bat.
Fortifications. I got you this at the snack bar.
Pink lemonade, my favorite.
With no ice.
You remembered, thanks. Joe, that reminds me, I signed us up to work snack bar at the first championship game.
When is it?
August 14th.
August 14th. That's the weekend of my conference.
What conference?
The management club conference at Lake Arrowhead. I told you about it.
Well, I didn't know it was that weekend. Can you change it?
Susan, there are 200 people going to this thing. I made the reservations back in December. We're staying at the hotel, at the Hilton Hotel, all expenses paid. I think they're going to give us a suite. I've been looking forward to it. It's going to be really nice.
But that weekend is the championships. There's a game on Saturday, another one on Sunday, and Zach's piano recital is that Saturday night. He's playing 4 pieces.
Zach will survive if we miss his recital and a couple of games. You can get your mom to take over.
Mom's going to be out of town in August, that elder hostel in Uzbekistan.
So he can stay at a friend's house.
We can't ask someone else to take care of our son and chauffeur him around. He's our responsibility.
And this conference is my responsibility. I put the whole thing together. I have to go.
I can't. Any other weekend.
There is no other weekend. There's always something. Cub Scouts or Hebrew school or choir or art lessons or baseball or basketball or soccer.
I thought you liked coming to Zach's games.
I do. I love his games. You know that.
You were assistant coach last year.
Which was great. But again, it was about Zach. There should be a balance, Susan. Once in a while, we should be able to go off and do something together, just the two of us.
We do. We go out to dinner on our anniversary, and once a year we take a weekend.
3 days out of 365 is not enough. Our lives revolve around Zach, and I love that. But what about us? We need time too.
He's only young once, Glenn. We're going to blink and he'll be grown up and gone. I don't want to look back and regret that I wasn't there, that I missed something.
Well, you don't have to worry because there's no chance of that happening.
Oh no, base is loaded.
Oh, going down in flames.
Wait, is he?
Yes.
Yes, he's putting Zach into pitch.
About time. All right, Zach.
You can do it, Zach.
Nice, straight arm, right into the glove.
Come on, honey. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, buddy. Strike the bastard out.
Mom? Mom!
The musical riff like the rushing of wind. The baseball sounds fade along with the lights, leaving Susan alone in the spotlight.
Mom!
Glen is gone. Susan is back to the present. Zach enters.
What are you doing here? Practice was over a half an hour ago. I said meet me by the locker room.
Sorry, I was just thinking.
About what?
About you. You remember that summer you played for the Marlins and you were the star relief pitcher?
Yeah, I remember.
That was really something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
They exit together. Scene 2.
They're sending me to this shrink now. It's a joke. Dad fucked some bitch from work and leaves my mom, and suddenly we all need therapy. Mom says you're so full of anger. We have to deal with your anger. Right, how am I supposed to feel? Happy? I don't need him in my life. Not anymore. Wherever he is, I hope he festers and rots. And the shrink. Talk about a waste of space. It's like a computer program stuck in a loop, spitting out sound bites ending in that. How do you feel about that? Why do you react like that? Let's talk about that. I said, if you want to ask me something, drop the bullshit and ask it. So he goes, tell me about your relationship with your father. And I say, what relationship? He's your father, he says. You lived in the same house with him for 16 years. You must have some kind of relationship. So I go, unless it was about sports, my dad and I never really talked that much. And now, since he left, it's like I'm inside a room and Dad's standing outside. There are walls on all 4 sides and a ceiling above me. And in one wall, way up high, there's one tiny window, just big enough to put your hand through. And through that window, I can see Dad's hand waving at me. And the last thing on earth I want is even to touch it.
Zach joins Susan at the table for dinner.
Mom, when you and Dad get divorced, are you going to keep our last name?
Yes.
Why?
Why what?
Why keep it? It'll just remind you of him.
It'll remind me of you. It's our family name.
Do you think you'll get married again?
Well, I don't know. Maybe if I meet the right man.
I hope you don't.
Why not?
I can't imagine you with somebody else.
You don't want me to get back together with your dad.
God, no. You're better off without him. So am I.
That's not true, Zach. I know you're angry. But what happened between your father and me has nothing to do with how he feels about you.
I don't care. I don't need him.
Yes, you do. He's your father. He's the only one you've got, and he loves you. You need him more than you know.
The front door opens. Glen enters.
Hi, Susan. Zach.
Hi.
What is this? Did you know he was coming?
I need him to sign that paper that you brought home from school.
You could have warned me. This is an ambush.
Zach abruptly leaves the table and darts out.
Zach.
That went well.
Thanks for coming. They want both parents' signatures. I would have mailed it, but there wasn't time.
That's okay. Hey,
Hey, what?
your ears. What'd you do?
Oh, it was an impulse.
It looks cute.
You think?
Yeah. So, how are you?
Okay. You?
Okay. I've gotten to know every takeout place in my neighborhood. The worst part is the quiet. I've started talking to myself.
The quiet gets to me too.
The quiet, but Zach's here.
He's not always here, and he's a kid. It's not like
So long as I'm here, do you need help with anything?
what?
I don't know. Fixing stuff around the house?
Thanks, but I've been taking care of that myself.
You have? That's new?
Last week, the bathroom faucet was leaking, so I replaced the seat washers.
Where'd you learn to do that?
YouTube. There's a video for everything. WikiHow shows you step by step too.
Ah. And did you find the washers in the garage?
Yeah, your storage system is pretty good. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yesterday, I unclogged the shower drain. Totally gross.
Oh, I hate that job. Who knew so much hair and muck could accumulate? It's like,
Toxic black sludge.
you know, you can't hire a plumber, right? Or you can call me.
But yeah, well, you always said plumbers charge an arm and a leg, and well, this is my deal now, so I'm teaching myself. To my immense surprise, I found out I'm actually pretty good at it.
That's great. I'm proud of you, Susan. I'm glad you're doing so well. Oh, hey, there's something I can do.
What?
Clock's not running. You have to wind this one every day.
I didn't notice that. Thanks. So, are you still seeing that therapist?
Every Wednesday.
Do you like her?
I didn't think I was going to at first, but she's all right.
What do you talk about?
Stuff.
Like what?
Do you really want to hear about it? I mean, I didn't think you cared.
I do. I am interested.
Okay. First day, she asked me what my goals were in coming to therapy. I told her I used to consider myself one of the good guys. I needed help to figure out why I basically fucked up my whole life.
Okay.
We started with where I am today. Now we're working on how I got here. We spent a lot of time on my childhood. I don't really see how that's relevant, but the other day I remembered something she seems to think is important.
Oh, what's that?
You know, my oldest brother, Mark, the one who was a sports superhero in high school.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Mark was the superstar of the basketball team, superstar of the baseball team. I idolized him. Our whole family did. Dad used to record every one of Mark's games. I was 4 years behind him. And when I got to high school, everyone had such high expectations. Wow, you're Mark Ross's brother, they'd say. Let's see you play. I was good. I made junior varsity, but I was never going to measure up to the legend Mark had created. Every game I played, everywhere I looked, I saw the disappointment in people's eyes, especially my dad's eyes.
You never told me this before.
Yeah, well, it's not like something I like to think about, much less talk about. Remembering it made me want to crawl in a hole again and die.
I'm sorry, Glen. Maybe it's not such a good thing bringing up old memories like that.
Hey, not all memories are bad. Remember that summer Zach pitched for the Marlins?
I was thinking about that too.
The day he was born. You and me playing Scrabble at the hospital.
Waiting for my contractions to start. Ooh.
You're probably the only woman in history to play Scrabble in labor and win.
It was my pre-labor. My water had broken.
You still impressed the hell out of the nurses. Your father, the way he kept wandering the halls asking everybody if they had a dictionary.
I'll never forget the look on my dad's face when he saw his grandson. He was so proud.
And your mom, I think for the first time, she forgave me for not being Jewish.
Oh, she forgave you a long time before that.
Yeah? When?
At our wedding. When you toasted my parents and said you hoped they knew they weren't losing a daughter, they were gaining a son.
Or maybe it was when I asked her to dance and slipped her the $5. Nice. Hearing you laugh again. For a minute, you look just like you did.
What?
The night we met in college at Tim's party, remember?
How could I forget?
I was out on the balcony talking to these two airheads who I think shared one brain. And I looked inside and saw you. And I thought, wow, that's someone I'd like to meet.
Tim introduced us and we spent the next 3 hours talking.
You talked, I listened.
You talked just as much as I did. And suddenly I looked up and realized we were the only people left in the room. Everyone else had gone home except my date, who was passed out in the corner by the keg.
You had more energy than any girl I'd ever met. You were so excited by life. And everything was your favorite. Your favorite ice cream, your favorite song, your favorite color.
It was the pictures in your wallet that impressed me.
What pictures?
You had pictures of your mom and dad, your niece Amy, and your dog. A guy who loves his parents and kids and animals. What more could a girl want?
If I'd known it was that effective, I would have showed my wallet to every girl I dated.
It's a good thing you didn't.
Is it? Susan, I wish...
You wish what?
I wish things hadn't turned out this way. I wish we could go back and start all over again and get it right.
You can't go back. You can only go forward. And as you once said, we're different people now.
I'm still the same guy with the pictures in his wallet. Only now the pictures are of you and Zach.
You don't carry a picture of her?
Her. Oh, you mean Claire? No, I don't carry a picture of her. Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Well, you asked. I was just being honest.
So you used to carry a picture of her.
I threw it out.
When?
I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago? You said it was over with her 5 months ago.
It was.
And all this time you've been carrying her picture?
I didn't say I was carrying it.
Well, then where was it?
In a drawer. I came across it a couple of weeks ago and I threw it out.
Do you still see her?
What? No, Susan, I haven't seen her or talked to her since the day there was just this one phone call on a business matter. She was very abrupt, and it's not like I had anything to say to her either. It's over, Susan, over. What do I have to do to make you believe that?
I don't know. I'm looking at you and I hear the words and I don't know if they're true or if you're just saying what you think I want to hear.
Jesus. Is this the way it's going to be for the rest of my life? You questioning every single thing I say and do? I don't know if I can take this.
What do you expect after all the lies you told, all the...
That's in the past. I hated myself the whole time. God, can't 20 years of good behavior make up for the 1 year I screwed up?
This isn't a prison and I'm not the parole board.
Why do I waste my time talking to you? You can be such a bitch sometimes.
Now I'm a bitch because you cheated on me and saved her picture and I find it hard to trust you?
My sister warned me about you the first time we met.
Your sister? What does she have to do with this?
Never mind. Forget it.
No, tell me. I want to hear this. What did your sister say about me the first time we met?
You remember the time Helen got that plant?
What plant?
I don't know. It was some kind of plant. And you told her she was going to kill it.
You mean that Schefflera, the one she was transplanting into a pot the size of Siberia?
You said it was going to die.
I said the pot was too big. I said it would spend 2 years putting down roots and wouldn't grow a single new leaf. I didn't say it was going to die.
It was the way you said it. You were this straight A college know-it-all.
My God, is that something else you remembered in therapy? A nitpicking piece of crap from your past that you dug up to throw in my face to make me look bad? Anything to try to help justify what you did?
You're the one who insisted on therapy. You're the one who said we both need to look at ourselves and find out if we're still right for each other. Well, maybe we're not. Maybe we never were. Even Zach said you drive him nuts sometimes.
Zach?
Well, you're always nagging him to set the table or do his homework or stop playing video games.
I shouldn't have to nag him. If he would do it on his own or the first time I asked, God, he can be so self-centered and lazy, which you'd know if you'd ever asked him to do anything.
If he's self-centered or lazy, it's because you've been pampering him, sticking that silver spoon in his mouth since the day he was born.
Me?
There isn't a damn thing he ever wanted that you didn't buy him. Not a thing he wanted to do that you didn't go out of your way to make happen. Don't get me wrong. I think he's the luckiest kid in the world to have a mom so devoted. But where did I fit in that equation? I was always on the outside looking in.
You spoiled him just as much as I did, handing out cash anytime he wanted it, giving him the best cell phone and computers that money could buy.
I never had a say in his Christmas and birthday presents. You had them bought and wrapped 2 months ahead, and he'd open them and thank me, and I had to pretend to know what they were.
I liked shopping, and you hated it. I thought I was doing you a favor.
Did you ask me?
Did you tell me you didn't like it? Am I supposed to read your mind? If you wanted to be more involved, you could have stepped in anytime. You could have gone shopping with me, but you didn't.
I was involved. I went to those Cub Scout things. We made Pinewood Derby cars. I went to every game and school play and concert.
Did you ever sit waiting in the car during a piano lesson or a Hebrew class or a 2-hour baseball practice because it wasn't worth it to drive home and back again through all that traffic? Did you ever take him to school or the doctor or the orthodontist? To this day, I'll bet you don't even know where his orthodontist is.
How could I? I had to be out of the house every day at 6 a.m. for a 30-mile commute. Your schedule, riding and home, you were more flexible. You never seemed to mind.
I didn't. But there were times when I had a deadline and I was racing the clock, knowing I'd have to stop writing in the middle of a chapter or a thought to go pick him up from school. I would have loved a little help from you.
What was I supposed to do? Knock off work at 2 to go pick him up?
Some dads do it. If I'd had a normal job, you would have had to.
I did what I could.
Did you ever offer to help him with his homework or give him a bath or read him a bedtime story? Did you sit up late listening while he cried over a friend who was mean to him or a girl who wouldn't give him the time of day? No, you went up straight upstairs after dinner and sat at your desk and ignored us.
What do you think I was doing up there all night? Twiddling my thumbs? I was paying the bills. Bills you stacked up for me to take care of, and I was managing our investments, which you never took an interest in. Why do you think we have the savings we do? Do you think it happened by magic? It's because I've been building a portfolio and putting something away every month for our future.
What future?
We could have a future if you would just
If I would just what?
forget it. I gotta go. Tell Zach I said goodbye.
You already said it months ago. The message was received loud and clear.
Glen exits and slams the door. Scene 3. A cafe the next day. Jackie and Susan are having lunch.
I had this dream the other night. In the dream, I was single and I was seeing 6 different men. One was a CEO, one owned an art gallery, one was a plastic surgeon, one was a quarterback for the Rams, and one played the violin, and the other was a rocket scientist, some kind of genius like Einstein. They were all different and all successful, and each one was a fantastic lover.
6 men, 1 for each night of the week.
And on the 7th night, I rested.
So Paul didn't figure in this dream anywhere?
We all need to fantasize once in a while. I mean, Paul is great.
Paul is great.
Paul is amazing.
Jackie, do you think it's possible to be too good of a mother?
No? What brought that up?
Glen stopped by last night. For a minute, we seemed to be connecting again, and then he started dragging up all this stuff from the past, making me out to be a bitch on wheels who played cheerleader to Zach 24/7.
That's shifting blame to avoid responsibility for his problems. Trevor did the same thing. He complained that everything we did revolved around the kids.
That's what Glen said. And I know he loves Zach, but maybe it's because I worked at home and was around more, or maybe it's the biological bond, but I think being with Zach was always more important to me than it was to him.
It's been that way since the caveman. Big, hairy, testosterone-filled Neanderthal goes out hunting for wild boar while his equally hairy, pregnant female watches the offspring and keeps the home fires burning. A man's career becomes his identity, and fatherhood takes a back seat to marriage and family.
It shouldn't be that way. Most women work full-time too. Our careers are just as important to us, and we put in just as many hours as men, if not more. I know a lot of guys who help with the house and kids, but it seems like more often than not, most of it still falls on us.
I know. And it's too much for any one person to handle. Something's going to fall through the cracks.
In my case, it was my marriage.
I hope you're not saying that was somehow your fault.
No, not exactly, but I did an interview once where the reporter asked me, with all the roles you play, how do you see yourself first? As a mother, a wife, or a writer? And I said, I see myself first as a woman, and then as a creative person, and then a mother and a wife.
Works for me.
Well, don't you see what I did? I put wife last. Last. Is that right? Shouldn't wife at least have been on equal footing with motherhood?
Don't beat yourself up about semantics. And let's be honest, it's hard to put your husband first when the baby's screaming and needs to be changed and your toddler is setting fire to the drapes.
After Zach was born, we fell into sort of a routine. You know, I took care of him and cleaned the house and cooked and did the shopping. And I let Glen do the things I didn't like or that I wouldn't be good at, like yard work and home maintenance and paying the bills. And now I'm wondering, was that a mistake? Or should I have insisted that we share it all 50-50? Because now that he's gone and I'm handling everything myself, it turns out the jobs he did aren't actually so hard or so bad.
Are you saying you like paying bills?
Kind of. I mean, there's something satisfying about being in charge of my finances for the first time in my life, about seeing the money come in and keeping track of how it goes out. I did what you suggested. I've got almost everything set up with auto deposit and auto pay now, so it pretty much runs itself.
Congrats, girlfriend. And welcome to my world. After what Trevor did, I won't let anyone else touch my money, even Paul.
I do a little yard work now. whatever the gardener doesn't have time for, and it's soothing. And every time I fix something in the house, I feel so badass. The other day, my favorite lamp stopped working. An electrician was going to cost $100 just for the service call. So I watched a how-to video. The part cost $4 at Home Depot and it took me 10 minutes to replace.
You saved $100. Your mom would be so proud.
She wanted to throw me a party.
About what you said a minute ago, whether you and Glen should have shared all those jobs 50-50, apart from the empowerment learning curve, are you asking if Glen had spent more time with Zach? Would that have forged a better bond between them?
Yeah.
Of course it would have. But if you're also asking, would that have made a difference in whether or not Glen strayed? Then I say no. Trevor was 100% involved dad. He was always there for our kids. He changed diapers and drove carpools with the best of them, but that didn't stop him from fooling around every chance that he got.
Well, that was Trevor. Glen says he was faithful to me for our whole marriage until he was transferred to Seattle.
Do you believe him?
Yes.
Well, then it's like I said, a midlife crisis. He was feeling sorry for himself, looking for something new and exciting. That doesn't excuse anything, but it could explain why it happened. Paul gets in a funk like that too sometimes.
Paul?
I never know when one of his moods is going to strike. Suddenly he'll get depressed and pick a fight for no reason. We'll go at it for 3 rounds and then he'll clam up and retreat. Sometimes he doesn't talk to me or anybody else for days.
For days? Paul?
I just stay out of his way during those times. Eventually, he gets over it and everything returns to normal. Look, it's fine. I've learned how to handle it. I adore Paul exactly the way he is, and I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to cheer you up to your new life.
To my new life.
Cheers.
They clink glasses and drink. Scene 4, the Ross home. Later that week, Susan and Miriam enter. Miriam carries a shopping bag from a department store.
All this time, I thought Paul was so perfect.
I don't know if I should keep this.
Jackie raves about how great he is with the kids, how great he is in bed.
$98 for a dress? Now, it's ridiculous. I'm taking it back.
Mom, we spent 2 hours shopping for that dress. You're not taking it back.
It costs too much.
What are you saving your money for?
My golden years.
I'm sorry if this comes as a shock, Mom, but these are your golden years. Treat yourself to something new once in a while. Dad would have wanted it.
You think so?
I know so.
Well, all right. Would you look at that moon? Your father always loved to look at the moon. One night when we were first married, and it was about 2 a.m., he woke me from a sound sleep and he said, "Miriam, get up. You have to see this." I said, "What's the matter?" And he took me to the window and there was this great, big, full moon. It was white and glowing. And he said, "Would you look at that moon? Isn't that something?" Have I told you this story?
Once or twice a year since I was born.
Well, your father was a romantic guy. There will never be another one like him.
No kidding. Even perfect Paul turns out to be Mr. Hyde.
Well, nobody's perfect. Paul isn't Mr. Hyde. He just has issues like everybody else.
Yeah, if you call picking a fight for no reason and giving your wife the silent treatment for days, just issues.
They are. In marriage, you have to look at the whole package and sometimes take a little bad with the good. You're lucky Glen wasn't like that.
Yeah, you should have heard him the other night. He started out nice and then he went straight for the jugular.
It takes two to make a fight, Susan.
I thought it takes two to make a marriage.
It's all part of the same thing, darling. Now, if I've learned anything, it's that life is not a straight line. It's a road full of bumps and curves. You have to chart your course, sure. I mean, you have to have some idea where you're going to stay out of the weeds. You'll pass through some beautiful countryside and you'll spend time in some very nice towns. But you're going to find a few washed out bridges and plenty of detour signs along the way.
This detour sign is pointing straight out of town and there's no way back.
There is a way back, if you'll just talk to each other.
We tried talking, epic fail.
Try again.
It won't help. I don't know, maybe we both blew it. I was determined to be supermom and he felt left out and went looking for a wife. What am I supposed to do now? Pretend that didn't happen?
No, you accept that it happened. You learn from it and you make sure it doesn't happen again.
It's not that easy.
Life isn't easy. Anyone who told you different is wrong.
Oh, you don't understand what I feel. You haven't lived it.
Haven't I?
What is that supposed to mean? Dad never left you.
No. But I left him.
You never did.
You never knew because I never told you.
That's impossible. How could...
It happened when you went away to college. My life had centered around you for so long, and suddenly there was this huge void. Your father was still working long hours then, and I wasn't sure if I loved him anymore or if he really loved me. I kept thinking about an old boyfriend from high school, and I'd run into him at our last reunion. I took a chance and I contacted him, and he'd just gotten divorced. Started emailing and talking on the phone, and your father and I had been together for so long. We knew all of each other's stories. But with this man, everything I said was new and funny and interesting. I felt alive for the first time in years. When he invited me to go see him in Chicago, I packed a bag and went.
For how long?
3 weeks. It started out like magic. But pretty soon it became clear to me that it was all a mistake, that I had been living in a fantasy. I missed your father, and I was mortified by what I'd done. So I went home and I told him I was sorry, that it was out of my system. I asked him to forgive me, and he did.
Just like that, he forgave you?
No, it took a while to rebuild the trust. But for the first time in years, we started talking about what we both needed and wanted in our marriage. We had a good life together after that. We never spoke of it again.
And you never told me.
I'm telling you now.
They stare out at the stars. Scene 5, the front porch, a few days later. Glen appears.
Hey,
What are you doing here?
I'm dropping off something for your mom, but I'm glad I caught you.
No, I've something to do.
Zach, sit down, please. I want to talk to you.
I don't want to hear it.
Just give me a minute, would you? It's important.
What?
I want to tell you a story.
A story? Dad.
It starts when I was 14, a couple of years younger than you. I was just starting high school. I know they don't do this now, but back then, the first day of school, they divided us up into tracks with letter designations. H, X, Y, and Z.
Susan spots Glen and Zach together and pauses unseen in the doorway, listening.
The tracks, we found out, were based on intelligence. H were for honors classes for the really smart kids. X was for above average. Y was average. And Z, if you were Z, you knew you were a real loser. Your track defined who you were, told you whether or not you were expected to succeed. And pretty much, people performed according to those expectations. I was an X. We used to make fun of the Ys and Zs, who obviously were destined to work at McDonald's for the rest of their lives. X's were different. We were above average. We were going places. But the thing was, I didn't see myself as an X. I wanted to be an H. So I studied hard. I put everything I had into it. I got A's and B's, and my teachers wrote great things on my comment cards. But they never moved me up to H. The tracks were set, they said. There was no more room in H. I was stuck in X for the next 4 years, branded like a second-class citizen, always one step behind the superstars. I told myself I didn't care. I'd show them. I'd carve out a different path and have a successful career and make my parents proud of me. So I got a college degree and a good job, and I moved up the ladder, and things were great for a long time. But after a while at the same job, at the same level for too many years, I started wondering, is this all there is? Most of our friends were doctors and lawyers who earned 4 times as much as I did, and no matter how good things were, every time I looked in the mirror, I felt like a Z.
So what's all that supposed to mean? You suffered from low self-esteem as a kid and never shook it. Is that supposed to excuse what you did?
No. I'm just trying to explain where my head was at the time. What happened in Seattle was a vain attempt to save myself by starting over. But all I was doing was running away. And I ended up hurting everyone I love in the process.
You didn't just hurt us. You fucked everything up. You destroyed our family.
I know. I let you down. But
I used to look up to you. I admired you. Now I'm just ashamed of you.
why? Because you found out I'm not perfect? That I'm a fallible human being?
Because fathers are supposed to be role models. What am I supposed to learn from you?
Learn from my mistakes.
How could you do it? How could you do that to Mom? She didn't deserve it.
I know. Neither did you. And I'm sorry.
It's a little late to be sorry.
Zach, I don't know if your mom and I will ever get back together. But even if we don't let that come between us. I'm your dad. You can keep rejecting me and hurling abuse at me and trying your damnedest to shut me out. But no matter how many times you slam the door in my face, I'll keep trying to get through. Because I love you. And whether you like it or not, I'm going to be here for you for the rest of your life.
Glen takes Zach in his arms. After a beat, Zach puts his arms around him and hugs him back. Susan comes forward.
Hey, guys. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Zach exits.
I saw your car out front.
I just stopped by to give you this. I signed everything and had it notarized.
Thanks.
Never thought it would end this way, with an envelope on the back porch.
Neither did I.
Before I go, I know I've been saying I'm sorry a lot lately, but I wanted to apologize in particular for the other day. I said some things that, well, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. I wasn't exactly
You were right.
about what?
You said I was using therapy to look for reasons to blame all this on you. A few days ago, for the first time, I took a really good look at myself.
I know. I overheard you talking to Zach.
Yeah? Well, I realize now some of the things I did, it was because for a long time, I thought of myself as a failure.
You were never a failure.
I think I know that now. But I did fail at the most important thing in my life. Being faithful to you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, Susan. And I lost sight of that. I can never begin to tell you how sorry I am.
It wasn't all you, Glenn.
What do you mean?
It took me a long time to see it, but I played a part in this too.
How?
I think I fell too much in love with being a mom. And I understand now for a long time you felt left out, and I should have noticed. I should have gone out of my way to help you become more a part of everything.
I should have been able to do it without help. You know what I miss? I miss coming home, sitting at the dinner table with the phone ringing, some stupid sales call, and Zach interrupting, asking us to buy him something while you tell us about your day.
I miss that too.
I miss playing Scrabble with you by the fire.
I miss grocery shopping with you,
Going to the movies.
arguing with you over who gets to read which section of the Sunday Times.
I miss the way you used to call me at work and pick my brain when you had a plot problem with one of your books.
I miss talking to you in bed just before we fall asleep, and you do that thing with your feet.
Susan, if you can never forgive me, I'll understand. I didn't blame you. But I love you. I never stopped loving you. If there's some part of you that wishes there could still be an us, could we please try again?
A pause. Susan walks into Glen's embrace. They hold each other. Scene 6, 3 months later. Miriam is setting the table while Susan finishes dinner preparations.
Nice placemats. Where'd you get them?
The kitchen store.
Oh, that place is so expensive. I hope you didn't pay full price.
Relax, Mom. They were on sale, 50% off.
Whoa. Well, next time on Tuesday, take me with you. It's senior discount day.
Zach and Glen enter.
Dad, he got all ball.
He got nailed. There's no way that was a clean block.
I should have passed the ball. I didn't know what I was thinking.
No, you did the right thing, and you should have gotten 2 points out of it.
Dinner's ready. Come and eat.
What happened?
Everyone moves to the dinner table and sits down.
I tried to drive the hoop and got stuffed pretty bad.
What? They let you eat now on the court?
It means he got blocked and hit the floor.
Face first, smashed my nose.
Are you all right?
Let me see.
No, I'm fine. Can you pass the pasta?
It was a good scrimmage. Zach made a great steal. Dished it off to Mike Jones for the score.
I wish I could have been there. When's your next game?
Friday after school.
Friday? Damn, I think I have a meeting Friday afternoon.
It's okay, Dad. Mom, you can come Friday, right?
It's on my calendar. I'll be there.
And you're still taking me to the computer game conference on Saturday, Dad?
You bet.
So we're all good.
We're all good.
What's this I hear, Zach, about you getting a new computer?
It's not new, Grandma. It's just an upgrade from my old one.
How's it working?
Okay. It'll last a little while longer.
This sauce is delicious, babe.
Well, it should be. It's Grandma's recipe. I made it from scratch.
How do you make spaghetti sauce from scratch?
You use actual tomatoes.
Lights fade as they continue to eat. A fire glows in the hearth. The final image of the play is a spotlight above the fireplace where a new family portrait hangs with Glen, Susan, and Zach relaxed and laughing. Blackout.
Wow, that was so good. Can the cast come back on? I just want I want you all to see everyone's face one last time. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us. We are now going to be in touch with Suzanne, who is going to let us know. She's been chatting on the live feed, and if you had any questions, we can talk about that. There's a 15-second delay, just as a heads up. But I just wanted to quickly say thank you so much to these incredible actors who gave us their time and just are so amazingly talented. If you want to donate to our Actors Fund, there should be a link in the live chat that you can pick if you'd like. And also the wonderful Siri James, who wrote this, is a very talented writer. She's written a lot of books, and you can check her website, sirijames.com, if you want to find out any more information on her, or if you want to read anything else that she's done. She's really fantastic. So Daniel, who's going to hand it over to you. Any questions? Anything?
Yeah, we have. So the first question is a question about how the rehearsals went with everybody being in different regions and how the rehearsals worked and how many we had and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple of rehearsals and, with everything that's going on and the fact that the theater we know has had to be on pause and it really sucks. The one awesome thing about this is that we can work with people who are anywhere in the world. And David Graham, who we all had the pleasure of working with for a long time, moved away and is in Texas and was able to join us for this reading, which is really awesome. So, but it was great. I mean, we just had to make sure it's the same as it always is in a show. You rehearse when everyone's free and you just make it work.
You worked specifically. I mean, we read it through a couple times as a cast, but you specifically worked with David and Annie as well separately.
I did. I had one rehearsal with the two of them. I mean, obviously, as you can tell, this show is so strongly about their connection. And so we just went over their big scenes a few times to make sure that they were in our bones, which, as you can see, they really were.
Yeah. The next question we have is one that we can't really answer yet. But Rick wants to know if there are plans to take this to the stage after COVID-19.
Well, it's interesting. We'd actually planned to do this as a live actual staged reading at Little Fish Theater. And we were going to do that sometime later in this season. And then obviously that didn't work out so well, considering all the fun things happening right now. And so one of the things that we decided to do was, while we're waiting and while we're all sort of at home so much, let's try and bring this beautiful play out in a way where people can still see it. And so that's why we decided to then make it something that was virtual, sort of a virtual reading. I can't wait until this play and many others can be on a stage again, but no news about that.
And how did the script come to you?
The script came to me because I'm lucky enough to be friends with Siri James. I actually went to high school with her sons. And so she's a writer that I'm a writer as well. And she's someone I really look up to. And this was a play that she had written. I know it's a play very close to her heart. And it started just sort of talking about it. I had read it a long time ago. And then it sort of came up again. And I knew that it would be a fantastic fit for our theater. It has a smaller cast and it's a play that our theater, just like the vibe of it, works really well. And so that's kind of how that came to be.
Yeah. And is this her first play, do you know, or has she written other stages?
She's written short plays that we've actually done at our theater and that have been done around. And then otherwise, no, I believe this is her first full play. But if I'm wrong, I'm so sorry.
And we have something else here. This isn't so much a question as a comment. Lorraine Davis says, Miriam, I'm Italian. That's as close to a Jewish mother as you can get, which I thought was really sweet.
Hey.
And we're just getting a lot of like, great to have David back with us at Little Fish, which I agree. And that everyone's sending applause to all of us, and they love it. Let's see. There's a question for Siri, but she.
I think what might be fun is to do a separate sort of interview with Siri at some point, maybe for people who have watched this. We'll do something fun with that for sure, because I'm sure people have questions for her.
Right.
As well.
So then they can keep an eye out on those announcements coming through Little Fish and Facebook.
Yeah.
So the question was how long ago did Siri start working on this play? And she says that she wrote the play a while ago and revised it recently for this specific performance reading of it.
Yes.
So that's that. And I'll also say thank you again to all the audience who watched this this reading. We had our biggest audience yet, I think, for this, which is very exciting. And if you can, in the comment section or in the about this video section in YouTube, there is a link to donate to Little Fish if you are so inclined. So there's that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you again to everybody, and thank you to this wonderful cast. David, it was so great to have you. And Miles, thank you for joining us. It was I hope we can actually work together in person at some point, but it was so awesome to have you here. But yeah, so anyway, thank you everybody. And we're gonna, I think, say goodnight for the night, but we'll be seeing you next time.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.